If you're looking for culture, you came to the wrong city, mother.
Count Scotchula here in Las Vegas for the Burlesque Hall of Fame 2014, and I am sitting here with Robert Lopez, who you may know better as Elvis. Well, I've been such a fan. May I call you Robert?
No, thank you.
Mr. Lopez, then.
Yes, please.
Mr. Lopez, how does it feel to be back here in Las Vegas?
It feels good. Things have changed. There's a whole new group of youngster kids. It's a well-balanced machine of burlesque, and I like that.
You probably didn't expect years ago that you were going to be an icon within the burlesque and cabaret community.
What I do is burlesque in the model of John Sex, who was one of my role models of the idea of taking off clothes. If you got to take clothes like Liberace, to take them off and then put on more is even more Liberace than Liberace. But when they asked me, it didn't make sense, and I go, oh, okay, I can do this. But then after I was a part of it, I go, oh, this makes complete sense. Because what the Elvis show at many times is a burlesque show of costume changes or breakaway clothes, making a point, or taking a song and doing your interpretation it through dance and removal of clothes to get to a point and a reason of, and this makes sense because, and that works so perfectly with what Elvis does.
Rock and roll, Mexican style.
What was the origin of you getting pulled into the Miss Exotic World Hall of Fame?
It might have been Paula the Swedish Housewife. I had known about it for years. I've been Elvis longer than Miss Exotic World, before it was called Burlesque Hall of Fame, existed. And I had friends who were photographers and who would go there every year and say, oh, you got to come down and see this. It's an amazing thing. But it wasn't until almost the last years of it being at the farm that I went. And my friends were in production who do Velvet Hammer and Lucha Vavoom that year, but it might have been Paula the Swedish Housewife.
You were asked as host this year for a tribute number to Dixie Evans.
Oh, me, I love Dixie, and Dixie loved me, and she loved Americana, and she knew that burlesque was an American part of American culture, and she liked the display of patriotism.
You were tight with Dixie, and
yes, and Liz Renee. I wrote a song. I was supposed to release it this weekend, but it didn't get finished enough. I love the old school women of the scene.
Elvis impersonators are stuck. Vegas is full of them, but you've managed to adapt year after year. You always make it new. What is the show you're doing in Spain?
This year I'll be doing Rafael Vez. Rafael was the Wayne Newton Elvis of Spain, and he lived before Franco, during Franco, and now he's having a resurgence, and now he's having a super comeback where he's taking a more of a rock stance. But he was very affected and sang like this, and it was really great. I am trying to work on a play because he's like the impersonators of Elvis, be it like Johnny Holiday or, you know, those kind of things internationally. Since I travel internationally, I always sink into their, and this is your tribute to Elvis. And now let me take your French tribute, let me take your Spanish tribute, make it Mexican as a reflect America, but do it your way. I like personalizing a show, would it be for here or that. So my trip is, I'm going to Spain, giving them a musical history of their own Elvis and a social-political one, because he went through the conservative times of Franco, which is a dictatorship, and his music had to be censored, and then the freedom of the 80s, which he got to go that. And he was a gay man who was not gay, so it's part of this, because many Mexican singers are gay, and they have a closeted life, and they get married, and they have kids, but it's like a whole, it's a wonderful story. So this is eventually going to turn into a one-man show of him, but just for the Spanish audience, because no one here would get it. De la primera vez que nos miramos. I like a frame because it forces me to work out of it. So any limit you give me is easier for me as an artist to say, oh, Well, you only have this much of space, and you have to use red, and you have to say kumquat 3 times. There you go. I think it's good for an artist to have limitations or a frame, be it Jack White, oh, drum and guitar, red, white, and black, that's all we got. Oh, whatever, a limitation is a nice way to work as an artist to complete this puzzle. Performance is a puzzle. How do I get this and say what I want in 3 minutes? How do I get a pop song and talk about Cesar Chavez in 2 minutes? Limitations can be good, and for me they are, because then I set up a frame and go, I can't go out of this. I'm going to make this great given these 4 jacks.
Set of boundaries and so
yes, correct, because otherwise you could go everywhere, which I usually do, but I like a limit. But also, being Elvis, the Mexican Elvis, gives you a frame of, okay, there's Elvis, and of course I go other places. But yeah, I've been the Elvis punk rock show, which I just did in Spain and Italy. I used a completely different band. It was early '77 punk rock, just like New York Dolls, Iggy, the Stooges, the Damned, Buzzcocks, that kind of stuff, because punk rock later turned into hardcore, homophobic, homogeneous, the whole idea. But Elvis was the punk rock of '66. So the beauty of Elvis is I can connect everything back to Elvis-ness.
Now, you just came from a little tour of Australia and Japan this past year, and you're going back to Spain.
Yes.
How busy have you been this year?
It's been very busy. I'm a busy guy. I mean, besides being Elvis, the Mexican Elvis, I have a band called the Little Richards. I have a band called the Zeros. I do MC work. I do theater work.
Are the arts really sustainable in Las Vegas? We had talked about this recently.
Las Vegas is not your normal city. It's not Philadelphia. It's not New York. It has nothing to do with the past, so it is a constant moving. I love Vegas for that vagueness of what is the future, the modernness. And so it's the land of the impossible and possible at the same time. It's the future with no regard to the past. So, if you're looking for culture, you came to the wrong city, mother. But what can be reflections of it, be it the arts. Hey, they got a museum here. They got Eiffel Tower. Rome, you heard of that? They got ancient ruin replicas. They had Elvis impersonation replicas. So it is not supposed to be authentic. It's not supposed to be an originator. It's a reflection of what American culture wants. You want it, we'll make it. And it's changed much since wherever, and it'll change again. That's the beauty and ugly of Vegas. It can be a memory, and it can be the future, and even the future will be a memory. It is the worst and the best of American culture, snap dab, in a land that was not supposed to house human beings. It wasn't supposed to be a heritage town, USA. That's what Philadelphia is.
I come from Philadelphia, where the Elvis restaurant is. The staff, if you ask them for a cover of an Elvis song, they're obliged to sing the Elvis song.
Oh, there's only about 20 songs that they have to sing. There's too many songs that they couldn't pick something from the gospel album or like that, you know, but there's there's a top 20 that they have to learn.
Is there a comparative thing? What does Elvis have to do?
Well, I have to serve the food. Well,
so I can order the nachos El Grande when you're doing a show in Seattle, and you prepare that dish. Could you?
Oh, we don't have a nachos El Grande, but it's a higher end version like that's called the Elvis nachos. But yes.
Nachos. Thank you so much for talking.
Thank you.
You are one of my genuine heroes.